I thought it was way more than I would have believed that it would be.
Can you imagine this? A world-renowned music star cursed simply for being gay. Or an actor arrested just for boldly standing up for the LGBTQ+ community. And that's only the beginning of Hollywood's hidden truths. Beneath the glamour of celebrity life lies a trove of stories more astonishing than you'd expect. Get ready, because today, we're diving into the untold, shocking secrets of 25 influential black celebrities. Michelle Ndigiocello, a female artist and icon of freedom. Michelle Ndigiocello, the gifted neo-soul pioneer, redefined music with her soulful melodies and fearless messages of identity and LGBTQ+ love. She emerged as a beacon of authenticity, embracing her truth despite societal pressures. Michelle captivated audiences not only with her extraordinary talent, but also with her resilience, earning deep admiration. From performing in intimate New York jazz clubs to creating groundbreaking albums, she charted her path with unwavering determination, leaving an indelible mark on music and hearts alike. But behind the mesmerizing bass lines and melodies was a Michelle wrestling with her truth. For years, she concealed her love for women, fearing it might jeopardize her career, her place in the music world, and her fans' acceptance. Whispers about her sexuality circulated, but Michelle remained silent. Then, one fateful night in New York, everything shifted. Stepping onto the softly lit stage, the air brimming with tension, she began singing "I'm Your Baby Tonight." The sweet, love-laden melody filled the room, and then, something extraordinary happened. Michelle paused. Her gaze shifted from an artist awaiting applause to a woman ready to bare her soul. Looking directly at the audience, she said with unwavering confidence, "This is me. All of me, love, pain, freedom, and everything I want to share." The room fell into a stunned silence. Her words weren't just a declaration, they were an act of self-acceptance, an open acknowledgement of her LGBTQ+ love she had long hidden. Each bass note that followed carried the weight of her emotions, amplifying her truth. In that moment, Michelle wasn't just a musician, she became a symbol of strength and authenticity. After that night, Michelle was no longer seen as just an artist. She became a beacon of liberation, defying prejudice to embrace love and authenticity. Her music transcended sound, becoming an anthem of strength, resilience, and unyielding freedom. James Baldwin, a fateful encounter on the night train, the secret behind the great works. James Baldwin, a literary genius and a tireless advocate for social justice and the black community's rights. Whether in New York or Paris, Baldwin showed how literature could transform society. His masterpieces, especially Another Country, broke new ground by exploring love, identity, and race like never before. Yet, hidden behind Another Country is a captivating story few have ever heard. In 1961, while living in Paris, James Baldwin boarded a night train to the south of France, unaware it would change his life forever. What began as a peaceful trip to complete a manuscript turned into a dramatic adventure. On board, Baldwin met Philippe, a young artist fleeing Paris after a forbidden love affair with a powerful politician's son. Heartbroken and uncertain of his future, Philippe's story resonated deeply with Baldwin, who, as a black gay man, understood the profound pain of rejection and prejudice. The tension spiked when two strangers boarded the train, clearly searching for Philippe. Without hesitation, Baldwin stepped in, shielding his friend from the danger. They hid in the shadows, hearts racing, as the hunters prowled nearby. Baldwin's bravery shone in those moments of silent peril. At dawn, as the train reached its destination, Philippe, eyes brimming with tears, expressed heartfelt gratitude. Before they parted, he handed Baldwin a mysterious suitcase filled with unpublished artwork, a poignant gift of love and sacrifice. That pivotal encounter became the foundation for Another Country, a novel that boldly exposed hidden societal truths about love, race, and gender. Baldwin transformed that night train into a powerful symbol of love that defies barriers, friendship born in adversity, and courage in the face of darkness. More than a memory of surprise, this story carries a timeless message: the extraordinary ways people can protect and uplift one another in a world rife with violence and prejudice. Brittney Griner, a love story between life and death. Brittney Griner, a renowned WNBA player, became a symbol of resilience after her life took a drastic turn when she was arrested in Russia for carrying cannabis. The incident not only tested her strength, but also the unshakable bond with her wife, Sherelle Griner, a skilled lawyer who fought relentlessly for Britney's freedom. Their journey was not just a testament to love, but a battle against injustice and indifference. Sherelle worked tirelessly, enduring sleepless nights and immense pressure as she wrote letters, rallied global support, and navigated legal hurdles to reunite with her wife. Even amidst threats and despair, she never let hope waver. The fight was grueling, especially during an unfair trial where hope seemed fleeting. But a critical call from an international lawyer provided a spark of possibility. Sherelle pushed forward, uncovering legal pathways and seeking aid from human rights groups, determined to bring Britney home despite the odds. Finally, after 10 long months, Britney was released. Their tearful reunion at the prison gate was a moment of pure joy and triumph. "I never gave up," Sherelle whispered as they embraced. "And I love you more than ever," Britney replied. Their story stands as a powerful testament to the unyielding power of love and resilience, proving no obstacle is insurmountable. Luther Vandross, the king of R&B and the mystery behind the cursed ballad. Luther Vandross, an R&B legend renowned for his soulful ballads and countless hits, captivated hearts with his velvet voice. Yet, behind his enchanting melodies lay a closely guarded secret: his sexuality. Few are aware of a peculiar incident in the 1980s that surrounded Luther, igniting endless speculation about the intricate ties between music, love, and truth. The story unfolded during the making of Luther's album Give Me the Reason. One day, an anonymous song arrived, accompanied by a cryptic note: "Only those who dare face their own truth can sing this song." The piece, titled The Shadow of Love, featured haunting lyrics: "You can run, but your shadow will follow you. The truth is the wind, and you cannot escape the storm." Intrigued by the melody and its powerful message, Luther decided to record the song. Yet, from the very beginning, strange occurrences unsettled the process. The studio was plagued by sudden technical issues, equipment malfunctioned inexplicably, lights flickered, and musicians reported feeling an eerie chill while playing the tune. These disturbances, however, were just the beginning. The situation took a darker turn when a close friend of Luther's, who had encouraged him to embrace his truth, was involved in a sudden car accident shortly after hearing the song. Whispers of a curse began to circulate. Some claimed the song was more than just music; it was a test, challenging Luther to confront his true self or risk facing ominous consequences. Though Luther had long hidden his sexuality, fearing rejection from fans and family, the song seemed to haunt him, almost as if it were speaking directly to him. He dreamed of being on stage under dazzling lights, yet no sound came from his lips. Instead, a voice emerged from the shadows, echoing, "Let them know, or remain silent forever." In the end, Luther chose not to release the song, securing the original recording in a vault and maintaining his silence. Yet, the strange events continued. A producer who secretly obtained the recording and released it illegally saw his career and assets destroyed after a mysterious house fire. The song vanished into obscurity, but the legend of the Shadow of Love endured in the music world. Though Luther Vandross never publicly came out, every time he performed heartfelt ballads like Dance with My Father, one might wonder if he was singing to the shadow of love he had hidden away forever. Sylvester, the disco icon who broke all stereotypes. Sylvester James Jr., the disco icon and LGBTQ+ trailblazer, revolutionized music and society with his electrifying voice and unyielding pride. From the 1970s onward, his soulful hits captivated audiences, while his fearless advocacy for gay identity inspired countless others. Even today, Sylvester's legacy continues to shine brightly in the world of music and beyond. Yet behind the dazzling nights, Sylvester carried unseen burdens. Being openly gay in a prejudiced society, he endured not only societal stigma but also discrimination within the music industry. One unforgettable night in a New York nightclub, Sylvester turned his pain into power. Under the flashing disco lights, dressed in a sparkling outfit and high heels, he faced the crowd and declared, "Tonight, I'm not just singing for you. I'm singing for everyone like me, those hidden in the shadows. Are you ready?" As the music began, Sylvester didn't just perform, he ignited a revolution. With You Make Me Feel, Mighty Real, he proclaimed that gay love was nothing to conceal but a vibrant, essential part of society. That night, he infused disco with a spirit of freedom and defiance. The entire room erupted, not merely hearing the song, but experiencing the raw energy and liberation in every lyric, every move, every beat. Yet, away from the stage lights, Sylvester endured relentless prejudice and invasive questions about his personal life. Still, he refused to waver. By living authentically, he became a beacon, not just for his groundbreaking music, but for his fearless defiance of societal norms. Sylvester redefined perceptions of same-sex love, freedom, and equality, transforming that night into a powerful, unforgettable declaration of love and resilience. Audre Lorde, the legendary clash at the literary conference, where the horrifying enemies felt the power of freedom. Audre Lorde, a literary warrior, celebrated poet, and trailblazer for gender equality and LGBTQ+ rights. More than just a writer, she embodied strength and fearlessly confronted society's harshest prejudices. In 1975, she shook a New York literary conference to its core, a gathering not just of renowned names, but a covert battleground of clashing conservative ideologies. This was no ordinary conference. The tension was palpable as Audre Lorde entered the hall, draped in a black cloak that exuded power and intrigue. Disapproving glances from conservative writers followed her, and a mocking voice sneered, "What could a black gay poet teach us?" Undeterred, Audre stood tall and began reciting a poignant poem about the struggles of lesbian women, rejected and silenced by society. Each word struck like a hammer against outdated ideologies, the air in the room thick with unease. But instead of applause, a conservative voice cut through, "This isn't art, it's just whining and incitement." The room erupted into chaos, with voices clashing, some passionately defending Audre, others attacking her without restraint. Yet, she remained composed. Descending from the podium, Audre locked eyes with her critic and, in a voice as sharp as her words, replied, "If poetry doesn't make you face the truth, then what's its purpose?" Her response silenced the room, a decisive blow that left no room for rebuttal. From that moment, Audre wasn't just a poet, she was a warrior. The story of this powerful confrontation spread far and wide, solidifying her legacy as a fearless icon in the fight for equality, freedom, and love. Billy Porter, the star who dared to break all prejudices with his secret love for Adam Smith. Billy Porter, a celebrated name in entertainment, admired for his immense talent and unparalleled boldness. A symbol of self-expression, Billy captivated the world with his vibrant outfits, heartfelt performances, and commanding voice. Yet behind the spotlight was a quieter, more personal chapter, a love story with Adam Smith, a reserved businessman who preferred a life away from the public gaze. When Billy and Adam first crossed paths at a charity event, the spark between them was undeniable. Yet, their love story was anything but simple. Billy, a Hollywood star perpetually under the public's gaze, contrasted sharply with Adam, a man who cherished his privacy. Their love blossomed in the shadows, concealed from the world. They wore figurative masks whenever they ventured out together, disguising their true feelings. But such a double life was never sustainable, and the pressure of secrecy loomed over them, demanding a resolution. One night, after a standing ovation following a stellar performance, Billy realized he could no longer endure the burden of secrecy. Love, he believed, deserved to be celebrated, not hidden away. With unwavering resolve, he recorded a heartfelt live video, declaring his love for Adam and calling him "the reason I live." The revelation spread like wildfire, instantly sparking conversations across social media. Critics emerged, some hurling sharp words at what they didn't understand. Yet, alongside the backlash, there arose a groundswell of support from the LGBTQ+ community and Billy's devoted fans, who rallied behind him with love and solidarity. At first, Adam struggled to comprehend Billy's bold move. The sudden spotlight felt overwhelming, and he questioned why Billy would expose their private life to the world. But as he saw the outpouring of support from the community and realized the impact their story had on countless others, Adam began to see the larger picture. Billy's decision wasn't just a declaration of love, it was a beacon for others like them, fighting for the same rights and recognition. Over time, Adam grew to admire Billy's courage and the sacrifice he made for both their love and the broader cause. Their journey became a symbol of bravery, resilience, and the unyielding fight for the freedom to love and live authentically. Angela Davis, a symbol of liberation and the shocking coming out of her sexuality. Angela Davis, a celebrated scholar and an indomitable force in the Black liberation and LGBTQ+ rights movements. Her unwavering dedication extended beyond the fight for black freedom to advocating for LGBTQ+ equality. In 1997, Davis made history by publicly coming out, a courageous act that sent a resounding message about the importance of personal freedom and the power of living authentically. One cold winter night in Oakland, Angela Davis found herself staring at an old wooden box wrapped in black fabric. There was no sender's name, only a letter and a handful of faded photographs inside. The letter, written in shaky handwriting, revealed the tragic story of a young black woman from the 1960s, ostracized by society and her family for her sexuality. Her words were both a plea and a challenge. If I cannot live freely, let my story be heard by the world. Angela's heart ached as she finished the letter. This wasn't just a personal tragedy, it was a call to action. The box held more than painful memories, it was a symbol of resistance. The accompanying photos revealed that the woman in the story had been targeted by extremist groups determined to crush the progress of the LGBTQ+ movement. From that moment, Angela became aware that she was being watched. Strangers lingered near her home, and vague threats began to surface. But fear didn't deter her. Determined to confront the intimidation, Angela organized a seminar at her university. The night before, she received a threatening letter warning of dire consequences if she continued to speak out. Undeterred, Angela stepped onto the stage the next day, clad in a radiant red outfit, like an unyielding flame. As she spoke, the crowd erupted in cheers, thousands rallying to stand with her in the fight for justice. Angela revealed the box to the audience and proclaimed boldly, "I am not only an activist, I am a proud lesbian, and I will not let zealots silence me." The crowd erupted, forming an unbreakable wall of support against those trying to suppress the movement. Later, Angela donated the box to a museum, transforming it into a symbol of courage and relentless struggle. Her decision to come out not only reshaped her own life but inspired millions in the Black and LGBTQ+ communities worldwide, marking a historic turning point in the fight for equality. Alice Walker, the writer who defied all prejudices with her purple hat. Alice Walker, a literary giant, is celebrated not only for her groundbreaking novel The Color Purple but also for her unwavering commitment to equality and justice. Through her work, she powerfully portrayed the struggles and triumphs of Black women and the LGBTQ+ community, forever reshaping the literary landscape. Since its release in the 1980s, The Color Purple has stood as a beacon of empowerment, with Alice Walker embodying resilience and authenticity, inspiring countless individuals to embrace their true selves. However, behind the pages of her novels lies a story rarely told. Alice Walker wasn't merely crafting narratives but breaking free from invisible chains. One quiet afternoon in an Atlanta cafe, she sat alone with her worn notebook, her thoughts weighed down by the prejudices, rumors, and isolation she had endured since coming out as bisexual. Yet, that day, something shifted within her. A mysterious woman entered the cafe, her long flowing black hair cascading beneath a striking purple wide-brimmed hat that made her presence undeniable. Without hesitation, she walked over and sat across from Alice, offering a gentle, knowing smile. In an instant, memories from college years surged to the surface. This was an old friend, someone who had once ignited Alice's earliest questions about love, identity, and the meaning of freedom. In that moment, Alice realized that this woman had been the silent muse behind many untold stories locked within her heart. "Are you still telling those untold stories?" the woman asked. "I don't write just for myself, I write for everyone without a voice," Alice replied softly, her eyes burning with resolve. Deep inside, she felt a shift. Her mission was clear. She was writing not only for herself, but for those unseen, for those unable to live their truth. She thought back to the pivotal moment she publicly came out as bisexual in her debut article. It was a bold move, fully aware it would change how people viewed her. Yet deep down, Alice understood that living truthfully was what truly mattered. Writing The Color Purple gave her the courage to confront societal biases and embrace the liberation of loving openly. It wasn't until the woman departed, her purple hat catching the fading sunlight, that Alice truly understood something profound. She was never alone in this struggle. She kept writing, kept fighting, so the world would understand that love knows no limits. From that moment, The purple hat became a symbol of Alice's fearless and unapologetic life, inspiring her to write about the truths others dared not face. RuPaul Charles, the drag judge and the classic fall that almost put his empire in danger. RuPaul Charles, drag artist and activist, transformed drag culture and became a beacon of inspiration for the LGBTQ+ community. With RuPaul's Drag Race, he elevated drag from the fringes to the global stage, captivating millions. Yet behind the dazzling costumes and stage lights lay untold stories, like the devastating fall during the show's first season that nearly unraveled everything he had worked tirelessly to create. As RuPaul's Drag Race neared its television debut, no one could have predicted that night would become one of the most shocking moments in drag history. RuPaul had meticulously prepared to ensure everything was flawless. But just moments before stepping on stage, disaster struck. A high heel, an essential part of the drag look, snapped in half. The towering Ru stumbled dramatically as the broken heel threw him off balance, leaving the crew, contestants, and everyone backstage stunned and paralyzed with uncertainty. In that moment, RuPaul didn't panic or falter. Instead, he did what only Ru could, stood tall, struck an iconic pose, and laughed with infectious joy. Turning to the camera, he declared, "That's why drag is never easy, but trust me, I'll always make it to the stage, even if it's barefoot." The entire studio erupted in laughter. Yet, beyond the humor, RuPaul delivered an unforgettable lesson in resilience, self-confidence, and the power of owning every moment, no matter how unexpected. RuPaul's adaptability and unshakable spirit turned RuPaul's Drag Race into a cultural phenomenon. Unpredictable moments became the show's trademark, embodying RuPaul's journey. That stumble with the broken heel evolved into a powerful symbol, a defining part of his legacy. It reinforced that drag is more than an art form, it's a bold act of resilience, a celebration of self-expression, and a testament to overcoming every obstacle life dares to throw your way. Jessica Betts, a lesbian love that made waves when the couple came out with Niecy Nash. Jessica Betts, a passionate and gifted singer, captured hearts with her soulful ballads. She was deeply in love with Niecy Nash, a renowned actress at the pinnacle of her career. For years, they kept their relationship a secret, cherishing their love in private. But one fateful day, circumstances forced their closely guarded secret into the spotlight, leaving them with no option but to reveal the truth to the world. Jessica and Niecy's love ran deep, but their fame and Niecy's history of failed relationships kept them in the shadows. They feared the public's reaction if their relationship were exposed. Everything changed, however, when Niecy, summoning immense courage, decided to go public. She wanted to prove to the world, and to herself, that this love was genuine, unlike the disappointments of her past marriages. Niecy posted a heartfelt photo of the two on social media, captioned, "Love needs no reason. It just simply is." The post ignited a media frenzy. Questions flooded in, reporters hounded them at every turn, and Jessica found herself thrust into an unforgiving spotlight. The reaction from the LGBTQ+ community was starkly divided, one side offering passionate support, while the other voiced harsh criticism. The relentless pressure weighed heavily on Jessica, pushing her into a state of overwhelming stress. The next day, a major newspaper ran the headline, "Jessica Betts came out as gay just for attention." Confusion spread, leaving Jessica tense in the studio. Niecy walked in, placed a hand on her shoulder, and said, "Our love is not a mistake. Don't let anyone decide your happiness." Empowered, Jessica stood on stage that night and, under the lights, sang a song declaring her love. "Love is freedom," she said, sharing their truth boldly with the world. Chanel Hudson O'Connor and Novian O'Connor, love has no fault. Chanel Hudson O'Connor and Novian O'Connor are not just talented entrepreneurs, they are fearless champions of the LGBTQ+ community. Their journey goes beyond a simple love story, evolving into a courageous battle against prejudice and discrimination that inspires countless others. In 2019, they attended a prominent event where entrepreneurs convened to discuss LGBTQ+ rights in the business world. It was a rare opportunity to push for equality and acceptance, but as soon as Chanel and Novian entered the hall, the atmosphere shifted. Heads turned, not in admiration, but with uneasy whispers and judgmental stares. Their presence, as a same-sex couple of color, seemed to challenge unspoken norms, leaving them feeling isolated in the crowd. When their moment to speak arrived, the tension reached its peak. A participant stood abruptly and launched a cutting criticism, accusing them of ruining the event by openly showcasing their love. The room fell into an uncomfortable silence. Yet, Novian stood tall, his voice unwavering. "We didn't come here seeking permission to love. We are here to demand the right to live and love without judgment." His words sliced through the silence like a battle cry, shifting the energy in the room. Chanel, moved by his courage, added with fierce conviction, "If our love is seen as a problem, then the problem isn't with us, it's with the world, and it's time for that to change. We are not just entrepreneurs, we are human beings with hearts and dreams, just like everyone else." Her words ignited something powerful. Applause erupted, rippling through the hall as people stood in solidarity. That day, Chanel and Novian didn't just advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, they sparked a movement. Their bravery transformed the event into a defining moment for inclusion, proving that love, in all its forms, is a right no one can deny. Carl Bain, a legendary singer in the revolution from music to the LGBTQ+ church. Carl Bain, with his iconic song "I Was Born This Way," wasn't just a celebrated singer of the 70s and 80s, he became a powerful symbol in the fight for LGBTQ+ rights. Through his music and unshakable courage, Carl created a safe space for countless individuals seeking acceptance. Behind every note, however, lay a hidden struggle. After coming out and releasing "I Was Born This Way," Carl faced not only admiration but also harsh backlash. Conservative religious groups relentlessly targeted him, attempting to silence his voice. But Carl refused to back down. He understood that societal change required courage, not silence, and that he had to stand strong for those who had been abandoned and marginalized. One fateful night, after a triumphant performance, Carl received a phone call that would alter his life forever. A distressed voice on the other end pleaded, "Carl, I need help. There are so many of us who can't live authentically. I feel hopeless." That call struck a chord deep within him, compelling Carl to take his advocacy beyond music. Determined to create a lasting impact, he founded an LGBTQ+ church, a sanctuary where people could be their true selves without fear of judgment. In its early days, Carl's church faced relentless obstacles. Conservative groups condemned it, finances were scarce, and death threats loomed. Yet, Carl's resolve only grew stronger. Every time he saw the joyful faces and heard the gratitude of those who found refuge in his church, he knew he was on the right path. As congregants joined together to sing "I Was Born This Way," Carl felt a renewed sense of purpose. His church became a beacon of love, acceptance, and freedom, transforming countless lives and proving that everyone, no matter their identity, deserves dignity and respect. Debrat, the truth about love that shipped the spotlight after the performance. Debrat, a groundbreaking rapper who dominated the music scene in the 1990s, became a cultural icon with her bold, distinctive hits. Yet, behind the stage lights and the fame, she kept a deeply personal part of her life hidden, her true identity. Known for her strength and resilience, Debrat also carried a quiet fear of how the world might judge her if she fully revealed herself. Jessica Dupart, on the other hand, was a self-made entrepreneur and the brilliant mind behind a thriving beauty brand. Radiating confidence and poise, Jessica's vibrant energy contrasted with Debrat's guarded nature. It was this very difference that brought them together when they met at a charity event. That night, they saw each other not as public figures, but as two people with vulnerabilities and stories waiting to be shared. In a rare moment of openness, Debrat admitted, "I'm afraid. Afraid they won't accept me for who I am." Jessica's gentle yet steady response, "You are amazing, and you deserve to be loved," marked the beginning of their journey. Their love grew quietly but faced challenges, judgmental stares, gossip, and the pressure of living under the public's eye. Yet, each obstacle only deepened their bond, forging a love that thrived on courage and authenticity. When they chose to go public, it was more than a personal declaration, it became a statement of empowerment for the LGBTQ+ community. Standing hand in hand under the spotlight, they showed the world that love knows no boundaries. Debret and Jessica's story is not just about love, but also about bravery, the kind that inspires others to embrace their truth unapologetically. Barbara Jordan, Texas's first openly gay politician. Barbara Jordan, the first black woman elected to the Texas legislature, left an indelible mark on politics and society. With unwavering determination and courage, she emerged as a trailblazer for change, not just in politics, but also for the LGBTQ+ community. When Barbara's sexuality became public knowledge after an unexpected interview revelation, it sent shockwaves through Texas and the political sphere. Criticism poured in from political colleagues and conservative groups. Whispered remarks and judgmental glances followed her wherever she went. But Barbara refused to falter. She continued to stride into the Capitol with her head held high, a living embodiment of resilience. As the first prominent female politician to come out in such a hostile environment, Barbara made her stance clear. Taking the microphone, she declared with bold conviction, "Yes, I am gay. But that does not define my work, my values, or my worth." The room froze, her words cutting through the tension like a beacon of strength. That moment wasn't just an admission, it was a rallying cry for authenticity and equality in the face of societal resistance. The aftermath brought intense scrutiny, with media inquiries and public debates about Barbara's personal life and political career. Yet, Barbara turned these challenges into opportunities, using her platform to champion LGBTQ+ rights and equality. One fateful day, as she arrived for a significant event in Austin, a woman standing by the roadside caught her eye. The woman, with tears of gratitude, said, "Thank you for being honest. You're not just my representative, you're my inspiration." Through her bravery, Barbara didn't just transform Texas politics, she gave hope and strength to countless others, proving that authenticity could be a force for change. Johnny Mathis, a music legend who made a groundbreaking decision to come out. Johnny Mathis, one of the most celebrated singers of the 20th century, captivated millions with timeless ballads like Misty and Chances Are. To the world, he was a symbol of romance and charm, an artist who could evoke love with every note. Yet behind the glamour lay a secret, a truth Johnny kept hidden for many years. In 1970, as he prepared for a pivotal performance in New York, excitement filled the air, but so did anxiety. Standing in front of the mirror, adjusting his suit, Johnny's thoughts swirled with doubt and longing. His heart skipped a beat when the phone rang. On the line was the man he had quietly loved for years. The voice on the other end asked gently, "Johnny, why do we keep hiding? Have you ever thought about telling the truth?" Johnny froze, his breath catching. He knew the weight of that decision, his career, the adoration of millions, even his family, all could crumble. Yet deep within, a new resolve was forming. He realized that living a life of pretense was no longer sustainable. The time had come to embrace who he truly was, regardless of the cost. That night, under the bright stage lights, Johnny faced an eager audience. As the music swelled, he gripped the microphone and paused. "Tonight," he said, his voice steady yet charged with emotion, "I'm not just a singer. I am a man who loves another man." The room fell into a stunned silence. Seconds stretched into what felt like hours, until finally, a single clap broke the stillness. Then another. Soon, the entire audience was on its feet, their applause resonating with his courage. Not everyone, however, celebrated his truth. Johnny faced backlash from fans and industry insiders alike, losing contracts and even straining family ties. But he never wavered. For the first time, he felt truly free. Over time, as the world grew more accepting, Johnny's bravery inspired countless others to live authentically. He came to understand that his greatest legacy wasn't just his music, but his unwavering commitment to being himself. Octavia Butler, the groundbreaking sci-fi writer with a secret about identity and gender. Octavia Butler, the renowned science fiction writer, was not only a creator of extraordinary worlds, but also a trailblazer who explored race, gender, and LGBTQ+ identity through her revolutionary works. Her books were more than stories, they were powerful calls for change, challenging societal boundaries and opening conversations about sensitive issues. Yet, behind her literary success lay a difficult journey. When Butler began her career, The publishing industry was dominated by white men. As a black woman, she faced constant rejection and prejudice, with many doubting her talent. Despite the countless rejections and cruel comments, Butler's determination never wavered. She fought relentlessly to make her voice heard through her stories. Her struggle extended beyond her career. For years, Butler kept her sexual identity hidden, fearing the judgment it might bring. But as she wrote about freedom and self-acceptance, the weight of hiding her truth became unbearable. How could she advocate for authenticity in her work while living a lie? Eventually, she embraced her identity, determined to live as boldly as the characters in her novels. A pivotal moment came with the release of The Parable of the Sower in 1984. The book's protagonist, a resilient woman navigating a chaotic world, mirrored Butler's internal struggles. After its release, a fan wrote to her, saying, "When I read your book, I felt liberated." That letter solidified Butler's belief that her fight for recognition, for authenticity, for freedom, gave others the courage to embrace their truths. Through her groundbreaking work, Butler became more than an author. She became a symbol of resilience and an inspiration to the LGBTQ+ community, proving that storytelling can be a powerful force for change. Lena Waithe, the gay black screenwriter, and her terrifying inner struggles. Lena Waithe, a gifted screenwriter and producer, has made a profound impact on the entertainment industry with her groundbreaking work that amplifies the voices of the black LGBTQ+ community. However, behind her achievements lies a deeply personal journey filled with challenges and internal battles she faces daily. Lena broke barriers when she came out publicly as a black lesbian in an industry often steeped in prejudice. She had to navigate not only the cold reception of Hollywood but also the doubts within her own family. After receiving a prestigious award, her aunt, a longtime supporter, asked her a question that pierced her heart. "Lena, why can't you be like everyone else? Settle down, have a family, and live like everyone else." The words left Lena feeling isolated, as if she'd been pushed out of her family's embrace. Yet, in the depths of loneliness, she found an unshakable resolve. Lena's courage extended into her storytelling. In Master of None, she brought Denise to life, a character who faces the societal stigma of same-sex love. When Lena won the Emmy for Outstanding Writing, becoming the first black woman to do so, it was a historic moment. Yet, it wasn't without its shadows. Behind the scenes, Lena faced warnings from industry colleagues who cautioned that embracing her identity too openly could cost her career opportunities. Rumors circulated that Hollywood might never fully accept her if she didn't conform. Amid the uncertainty, Lena received a call from her mother. Her words were simple yet profound. "Lena, I don't fully understand what you're doing, but I'm proud of you." Though it wasn't full acceptance, those words lit a spark in Lena's heart. She realized that her journey wasn't just about her, it was about paving the way for others to live authentically. In that moment, Lena understood that every battle she faced contributed to a greater purpose, giving a voice to those who needed it most. Pat Parker, the fierce poet who stood up against prejudice. Pat Parker, renowned poet and activist, was a trailblazer in the fight for LGBTQ+ equality. Her sharp, emotional works didn't just reflect society, they aimed to transform it, sparking movements and giving a voice to those silenced by stigma. Yet, behind her activism lay a deeply personal journey of struggle, love, and resilience. One summer, at an LGBTQ+ rights conference in a small town, Pat stepped forward to share her own story. She hoped to inspire young people battling loneliness and fear while hiding their true selves. For the first time, she stood not just as a poet but as a fighter for authenticity. On the final night, Pat took the stage, ready to deliver a poem she had labored over for weeks. As she began, a man in the audience shot her a cold, disapproving glare, muttering slurs under his breath. The room grew tense, but Pat remained undaunted. She paused, her voice steady and resolute, and declared, "If you can't love yourself, how can you love someone else?" Her words cut through the silence like a blade, challenging the prejudice and hatred she had faced her entire life. A wave of applause broke the stillness. A lesbian woman stood and clapped, thanking Pat for giving her the courage to embrace herself. Soon, the whole auditorium erupted in support, transforming the atmosphere into one of hope and solidarity. Pat knew the fight was far from over, but she had no fear. Her weapon was her poetry, and her resolve was unshakable. Weeks later, her poem spread across communities, reaching hearts far and wide. Among the responses was a letter from a mother. "My daughter read your poem and no longer feels ashamed of who she is. Thank you." For Pat, it was proof that her words weren't just art, they were a lifeline, changing lives one verse at a time. Alvin Ailey, the great choreographer who challenged all prejudices. Alvin Ailey, one of the most renowned choreographers of the 20th century, transformed modern dance with works that celebrated African American culture and heritage. His performances mesmerized audiences worldwide, but behind the dazzling artistry lay a deeply personal struggle, a secret he carried for much of his life. In 1971, on a stormy night in New York, Alvin was preparing for a defining performance by the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. This night held more than artistic significance, it marked a crossroads in his life. For years, he had loved a man in silence, afraid of how society and the art world would react if the truth came to light. The fear of losing everything, his career, his respect, his legacy, kept him bound to secrecy. Yet, as he stood backstage, watching the dancers perform his choreography, he couldn't ignore the contradiction. His work celebrated freedom and authenticity, while he himself lived in fear. That night became a turning point. As the applause thundered and Alvin walked off the stage, he made a quiet but resolute decision to embrace his truth. No longer willing to suppress his love, Alvin began living openly, despite the inevitable backlash. His declaration sent ripples through the dance world, sparking both controversy and admiration. Though some rejected him, Alvin found liberation in his honesty, and his art grew even more profound as a result. Alvin Ailey's courage transcended the stage. He became a symbol of resilience and authenticity, proving that true artistry comes from embracing one's whole self. His legacy as a trailblazer continues to inspire, reminding the world that freedom, whether in life or dance, is always worth the fight. Monifa and Therese Michel, a lesbian couple who defied prejudice. Monifa, a celebrated R&B icon, and Therese Michel, a distinguished educator, made waves not only in their respective fields but also in the LGBTQ+ community of color when they publicly revealed their relationship in 2014. Their love story was one of joy and resilience, filled with moments that proved their commitment to living authentically despite the challenges they faced. One memorable evening, after Monifa delivered a stellar performance at a major music festival, the couple went out for dinner to celebrate. As they sat together, a group of strangers approached them with hostility. "Why are you doing this here? This is a public place, don't disgrace the community." The cruel remark stung like a slap, but Monifa and Therese refused to give in. Therese leaned toward Monifa and said quietly yet firmly, "We can't let them break us." And so, they stayed, standing strong in the face of judgment. The hardships only grew after they publicly declared their love. Monifa faced an intense backlash from fans, losing advertising deals and career opportunities almost overnight. Just a week later, a scathing article revealed that she had been excluded from a high-profile music project because her personal life didn't fit the image they wanted to portray. The betrayal from people Monifa once trusted was a heavy blow, leaving the couple questioning the price they were paying for simply being themselves. Through tears, Therese asked, "How can the world reject us just for loving each other? Just for who we are?" But rather than letting despair consume them, Monifa and Therese chose to fight back. They turned their pain into purpose, speaking out for acceptance and diversity within the Black music community. Despite the backlash, they remained unwavering, proving that their love was stronger than hate. Together, they became a beacon of hope, inspiring countless LGBTQ+ couples of color to embrace their truth and stand tall in the face of adversity. Bayard Rustin, the man behind the March on Washington and the battle against dark conspiracies. Bayard Rustin, a name often overshadowed in history but pivotal to the 1963 March on Washington, where Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his iconic "I Have a Dream" speech. Known as the movement's architect, Rustin was a tireless advocate for civil rights and LGBTQ+ equality. Yet, his journey was fraught with challenges. As a gay man, he faced not only societal discrimination but also political schemes designed to discredit him and weaken the civil rights movement. On a sweltering summer day in 1963, with the monumental march just weeks away, Bayard Rustin found himself under intense scrutiny. Conservative politicians had unearthed his past, a 1953 arrest in California for openly being gay. Seizing the opportunity, they launched a scheme to undermine the march, branding Rustin as a moral threat in an effort to erode trust among civil rights leaders and derail the movement. In a covert meeting, a political agent entered the room, clutching a thick envelope filled with incriminating photos and documents. He leaned forward and hissed, "Step down, or we'll expose everything." Rustin, undeterred, rose to his feet and locked eyes with the man. "If you think the truth about me will make me step back, you're mistaken," he declared firmly. "I'm not ashamed of who I am, and I won't let you, or anyone, destroy the dream of millions of Americans." But Rustin didn't stop at confronting them in secret. He took control of the narrative, holding a press conference that stunned his detractors. Facing a room full of reporters, he declared with unwavering conviction, "Yes, I am gay, and I fight for freedom. If you think that lessens my worth, I say it only strengthens this movement." On the day of the march, over 250,000 people poured into Washington, defying every attempt at sabotage. Rustin, the quiet mastermind behind the scenes, ensured every detail was flawless, from coordinating marchers to organizing security. The event was a historic triumph, its success echoing across generations. The conspirators' plot crumbled, and Rustin emerged victorious, turning adversity into a defining moment. He wasn't just the architect of the civil rights movement, but a living testament to resilience and courage. Glenn Burke, famous baseball player, and his tragic fate. Glenn Burke, a standout player for the Los Angeles Dodgers in the 1970s, carried a secret that set him apart in the world of professional sports. As a gay man in an era when such truths were taboo, Glenn lived in constant fear of being exposed. Though he dazzled on the field, every game was a tightrope walk between his passion for baseball and the pressure to conform to societal expectations. A reporter's casual question about his personal life during a tense game only deepened his internal conflict, forcing him to bury his truth even further. An injury during a crucial game ended Glenn's career prematurely, but it also became a turning point. Away from the public eye, Glenn found the courage to live authentically. In an interview a year after retiring, he came out as gay, openly acknowledging his long-term love for another man. The revelation shook the sports world, earning him both praise and backlash. Many turned their backs on him, yet others lauded his bravery in facing the scrutiny of an unforgiving society. Though his career was cut short, Glenn's legacy extended far beyond the baseball diamond. By publicly embracing his identity, he became a trailblazer for LGBTQ+ athletes, proving that authenticity is more powerful than the fear of judgment. His story continues to inspire those striving to live their truths, showing that liberation often comes at a price, but it's a price worth paying. Wanda Sykes, the comedian who shut down conservative voices. Wanda Sykes, a renowned comedian, is celebrated not only for her humor but also for her bold advocacy for LGBTQ+ rights. She shattered traditional views of comedy, transforming her stories into powerful declarations of equality and freedom. One memorable incident occurred during a club performance when Wanda shared her journey of hiding her identity and love as a lesbian. A man in the audience suddenly shouted, "Shut up, Wanda. This isn't funny at all." All eyes turned to her, but she stood firm. Smiling, she retorted, "Oh, I get it. You don't like my love story, but you love my jokes, right?" Her quick wit had the crowd roaring with laughter, masking the deeper bravery it took to face such moments. That night, her courage resonated far beyond the laughter. Messages poured in from the LGBTQ+ community, with people expressing how her story inspired them to embrace their own identities. Wanda's humor became a beacon of hope and strength for many struggling to live authentically. Despite facing criticism from certain industry figures and conservative groups, Wanda remained unfazed. She continued to amplify LGBTQ+ voices through her comedy, reshaping perceptions of gay individuals. Wanda Sykes proved that living authentically is a powerful act, one that demands respect and ultimately changes the world. Hope Giselle and Xander Gotze, a strong fight for the rights of trans people of color. Hope, Giselle, and Xander Gotze are trailblazers in the fight for the rights of transgender people of color. Their journey began at a transgender rights workshop where their powerful voices first converged. On that fateful night, neither of them realized that this meeting would transform their lives forever. From the very beginning, Hope and Xander felt a unique connection, not only in their work but in their shared vision for justice. Xander, a black transgender man, had endured fierce discrimination, facing prejudice from both society at large and within the transgender community itself. Hope, though resilient and passionate, had also struggled to carve out a space where she could live authentically amidst widespread bias. Together, they recognized that their mission extended beyond personal battles. They were fighting for those still living in silence and fear. A year after they met, Hope and Xander joined forces for a campaign to advocate for transgender rights in a state resistant to change. But just as the campaign was gaining momentum, their opponents launched a vicious attack to derail their efforts. Undeterred, Hope and Xander turned the challenge into an opportunity, organizing a massive protest in the heart of the city that drew hundreds of supporters. During the protest, Hope and Xander stood hand in hand, embodying unity and resilience. When Xander addressed the crowd, his words silenced the city. "We are not just fighting for ourselves, we are fighting for all those who have yet to speak out." That powerful declaration became the movement's rallying cry and a beacon of hope for the transgender people of color community. The crowd erupted in applause, inspired not just by his heartfelt words, but by the undeniable strength and love they represented. In the end, their unwavering persistence led to a shift in public opinion and influenced government policy. Hope and Xander's story became a symbol of possibility, proving that unity and courage can dismantle barriers. They didn't just fight for their own rights, they gave hope to countless others still battling in the shadows. Their stories remind us how far we've come and how much further we have to go. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more untold stories of courage, resilience, and the fight for equality.